Your personal sovereignty has been under attack. Choosing what you can and can't do with your body, what food you can and can't eat, and individual states are starting to get more power over your life than the federal government has, at least in the United States. Now that makes me want to increase my personal sovereignty. One of the things I've done is I've acquired a piece of land. I call it a ranch. People in Texas tell me this isn't a ranch because it's too small, but it's a ranch to me. I made a video on it recently breaking down why I bought it, what I thought was going on in the world, why I might need it, and what I had in plan for it, what I was gonna do with it. It got a lot of views, I think about 300,000 views. I'll link to it in the show description down below if you want to go watch that original video to get my whole thinking behind that. But everybody said more, keep us up to date, show us what you're doing, and that's exactly what we're going to do with this video. I want to give you an update, show you what's going on with the ranch, we'll talk more about the numbers, and then of course we'll talk more about what I think is going on in the world and why you might need to do the same. So let's go. All right, welcome back. If you're new to the channel, my name is Mark Moss. I make these videos to change the way you think about money because almost everything you've learned is wrong. Today, we're talking about real estate, we're talking about ranching, we're talking about farming, we're talking about a lot of these subjects that make part of your financial decisions. I'm gonna show you some of my financial decisions, what I'm doing, not gonna tell you what to do. First thing, so here we are at the ranch. We have this whole area. I've shown this to you once before. You can see from last time, this was all brown and dead. Now it's starting to grow, starting to turn green. This is all gonna turn blue and yellow, full of these beautiful flowers. So that's gonna be awesome. We keep this area open for a couple reasons. One, obviously it's beautiful, give us a buffer from the street, as well as give us privacy to the main house. So we have this first gate that we went through here. We have a separate entrance that goes out to horse stables. We got a horse corral, we got a pro rodeo ring, and a bunch of other stuff that we'll look at in a minute. We got some of these beautiful oak trees out here. We have one that's maybe about 400 years old. I'll show that one to you. That's a special piece on the property. So you can see last time we were here, this was all brown, but now that winter's over, we've been getting some rain. The grass is starting to grow again. The previous owner that had this place had it completely neglected. The landscaping was totally overgrown. One of the costs I underestimated, I think we spent almost $10,000 just to get the yard cleaned up. It was that bad. So last time we were here on the previous video, it was the first time I had gone inside the house because we bought this sight unseen. Meaning I walked the property, but I wasn't allowed to go in the house. So I took you into the house for the first time before the previous tenant had even moved out. But it's a lot different now. Let's take a look. Okay, so last time I took you in here, there was stuff everywhere. Of course, we've cleared this out. We completely gutted the house. We've already ripped out the floors. We've installed new floors. Right here, we can see we cut this whole doorway out right here. So we really opened up this whole hallway, ripped this out. We still got to get the electrical figured out. A lot of work you can see over here in the kitchen. Completely gutted the kitchen. We ripped out the island that was here. All these cabinets are going to get refaced. Putting new countertops in, putting new backsplashes in, all new appliances will go in. So that's what's going on with this. This is part of the new island that just got delivered, sitting right over here. But you can see most of it's still ripped out. We're gonna put another wet bar right here. The bathrooms are still in disrepair, to say the least. We still gotta replace the floors, still gotta put the cabinets, all of that. So the house is a work in progress, as you can see, but a big difference from last time we were here. I'm not going to take you through the whole house right now because it all basically looks like this. The floors are in, there's no bathrooms, the kitchen's basically torn out, all the bedrooms still need to get rewired, they need to get repainted. We've done a lot of work out here. Last time we were here with the camera, there was still geese running around, there was ducks running around. I said that I might get rid of the geese. A lot of comments on the video said, don't get rid of the geese, Mark. But I did, they're gone. There was too much, let's just say, they went to the bathroom way too much out here. It was a complete disaster. All in the pool was a complete disaster. It took a lot of time, a lot of money to get all this cleaned up, get the pool cleaned up. We got the garden. We had to completely clean that out. He let that completely get overrun with weeds. So we've got the garden. This is enough to feed a couple families worth of vegetables once we get that going right. We've had to get this thing completely pressure washed. We had to get this re-stained right here, get all this working, but you can see how nice this is going to be sitting out here, having a fire in the winter. Of course, we're in Texas. We got the big barbecue and a pizza oven. Like everybody loves pizza, right? All right, now you've heard me say in videos many times that money is not wealth. Money measures wealth. Money helps you acquire wealth. If I had $1 billion of cash, $1 billion of gold, and $1 billion of Bitcoin, and I was at a deserted island with nothing to spend, no food, no water, no boat, no phone to get off the island, all of that is worthless. Wealth is goods and services. And really, what are the core goods and services? Food and energy. So we've got real wealth going on out here. You can see out here in the distance, these are my sheep. We got a mama and 3 babies. We'll go take a look at these. Now, I like my money to make money, so I bought 1 sheep for $75, and now I have 4 sheeps, and I didn't have to pay for them. And these sheep can just sit here, they can eat the grass. It's basically free for me to grow them, and I can sell them off. So $75 turned into $300. It's kind of funny being a beach guy, not from the ranch, seeing these things. It brings me great joy. Look at them run off. Kind of fun having some animals. Have a lot of responsibility now. I got a lot of mouths to feed. Down here we have this pond right here I showed you last time. We've done a lot of work. We're starting to clean it up. We got the rocks going all around the edge. We may dig it out a little bit more. When it rains, it's been pretty dry, but when it rains, this will fill up. We're probably gonna fill it, line it with some clay so it can hold the water. Let it fill up. We built some runoffs where more water can come into it. And then maybe, depends on how well it holds water, I think we can get it holding water pretty good. Maybe stock it, put some fish in there. That way when we have the Airbnb, we have an experience, right? When people want to come stay somewhere, they want an experience. When you run an Airbnb, it's all about the small details that get you from a little bit of money to a lot of money. And so if we had an experience where people could come fish and kids could actually pull out fish, maybe we have a couple Walmart rods down there, that'd be amazing. I'll show you over here at the ring a little later. We're gonna have animals, we can have a petting zoo. So we got a guy down the road that does exotic animals. We can have exotic animals. I mean, I'm talking like kangaroos, lemurs, llamas, etc. So how cool would it be if you're looking at all these Airbnbs and you have kids, and this Airbnb has a petting zoo and it has a stock pond you could pull fish from. Which Airbnb do you think would rent out first if you had kids? Yeah, you guessed it. Here we got more of the flock. They're not super friendly right now. I don't have any treats for them. I got to bring treats out here. Bribe them, the old carrot of the stick, proverbial carrot of the stick, and they like the carrots. But more of the flock, like I said, we had 26 of them. We're down to 24 now. We lost 2, unfortunately. But we're getting new ones all the time. We have several of them are already pregnant, and so our money is making more money for us. Up here on the hill, you can see the trees start to get pretty thick. What we like here is we like these giant oak trees, but we've been taken over by cedars. The cedars grow almost like weeds. They suck all the moisture out of the ground. They turn the ground, kind of kill the soil and turn it into hard dirt. So we're in the process of ripping all the cedars out, which will then allow the oaks to breathe, grow, we'll get the soil to grow good. Then we can have grass all up there. The animals love to be in that. They love the protection from the sun. They feel safe, I guess. They're Herefords. They're beef cows. Here's our donkey down there. He's in the bush. Can't really see him. He's likes to hide out. This would be a pretty good spot to build a house right here. We're gonna clear all these cedars out because we have hundreds of acres, if not actually thousands of acres open behind us this way. So this is a professional rodeo ring that we have right here with lights. So we could run a rodeo if we want. You could run horses, whatever you want out of here. All right, so the overview, real quick. If you haven't watched the previous video, again, I'll link it down below. Basically, I was here in November. I met with some influential people, some people that are pretty connected with special forces, things like that. We're concerned with the way the United States was going, both in terms of potential supply chains breaking down, obviously inflation running rampant, and what happens when people start to see that they can't afford to live anymore. So we're seeing tensions high. People are at each other's throats right now. Of course, we're seeing just this year, there's been dozens of food processing plants mysteriously blowing up. There's been over 30 million birds that have been killed because of this avian bird flu. And so there's a problem with food. The probability, the percentage of like needing to live on a farm and like growing your own food and growing your own clothes, I think is very low. But for me, if you watch my channel, you know that I care about sovereignty. Sovereignty to me means that I have the right to direct my life as I see fit in a way that leads to my own ends. That means I'm free of coercion. And so I'm on a path to sovereignty. It's a path, it's a journey, it's a spectrum. And having the ability to be in Texas with strong states' rights, strong freedom current that goes on in the state, as well as the ability to have my own land, have my own room, have my own food if I need it, was important to me. Now, many of you probably know that I don't live here. My goal isn't to live here. I still live on the beach in California. So a couple things about the ranch. That's kind of why I bought it. If you want to know deeper into why I bought it, like I said, go watch that video. I'll link it down below. I would say since I made that last video, things have continued to get worse. I still think that it's a small chance that I need to come live on here and grow my own food, but it's a real possibility. And the way that I've always practiced risk management is I ask myself, what's the worst that could happen? If I make this $100,000 investment, what's the worst that could happen? I could lose my $100,000. Am I okay with that if that happens? And then I make the decision. So with this, what's the worst that could happen? Well, I have a family and I might need a place for us to live where we could be free, have our own food. What's the worst that could happen? Well, we run out of food, or in California, they infringe on our rights too much. Am I okay with that? No, I have a family, so I did something about it. So let me kind of break this down for you. Now, a lot of people on my last video said, Mark, you have no idea how much work it is to run a ranch, animals, upkeep, etc. And they're absolutely right. I didn't, or I don't, but other people's time. So I've hired a guy to come out here, run this ranch for me. He handles the animals, he keeps the grounds clean, and I've worked out a way to even pay for it. So what we've done is we've gone ahead and bought, at this time, about 26 goats. We've got 7 cows. I used to flip real estate. It's not the best time for it right now. I've flipped hundreds of homes, and now I'm flipping cows. I'm flipping goats. Not to get rich. Anyone who's ran a ranch knows it's not super profitable, but it's at least enough to pay for the expenses, to pay for my groundskeeper, and that's good enough for me. One way to offset those costs. In addition, I have the cows, I have the goats. If I need meat or milk or cheese or whatever, we have all that as well. Some of the other things about the numbers. So we walked through the house sight unseen. It's been a lot of work, more than I anticipated. I was naive. I thought maybe we'll spend about $150,000. We're going in deeper than that. You saw the amount of work that we've done. We decided we want to rip out walls, redo electrical, a lot of stuff like that. We're probably going to be coming in closer to about $200,000 on the remodel on the house. Like I said, even just the yard was like $10,000 just to get it cleaned up. So there was additional expenses that I hadn't planned for. Of course, you always leave yourself a buffer, so that's okay. I hope 150, maybe we'll be closer to 200,000, but the place is going to be dialed and brand new. And that's important because if you remember from my first video, the way that I plan to pay for this asset is through renting it out. So I'm going to continue living in California on the beach. I'm going to have this place, 1, as an insurance policy if I need it. 2, a fun place for my kids to come out and hang out with the animals. They love it. And 3, it's going to be a cash flow generator. So I was able to borrow against some of my other assets, using other people's money or leveraging against assets that I own, make the down payment on this, and now I'm making the monthly payment that will be more than offset by the rental income that we can make as an Airbnb rental. This is a wedding capital of the state, and the Airbnbs go crazy. I think we could make 4 to 5 times our payment just in that alone. Now, again, what's the worst that can happen? Well, the whole country implodes, no vacations happen, nobody gets married anymore, nobody ever rents Airbnbs anymore, and I'm stuck making that payment. That's the worst that can happen. What's the probability that that happens? Very low. People are still gonna get married. People are still going to need places to stay where those weddings happen. And if the economy breaks down, we may not see as much international travel, and they'll probably be more local. And I think this place could still do amazing. Maybe I don't make the 5 times, maybe I only make 2 times. Still pretty dang good. What's the worst that could happen? Well, everything shuts down and I don't get any rental income and I have to make the payment. Well, I'm okay with that too because I have the money and I can do that. I don't think that's going to be the case, and so I'm hoping for the best, but I am definitely planning for the worst. So Airbnb, that's going to pay for it. I did the down payment with borrowed money. We're in about, like I said, about $200,000 we have to come out of pocket to fix this place up, so we'll have to recoup that over time. But this place is going to be dialed. It's going to be absolutely beautiful, and of course we'll do some more follow-up videos on that as we go along. Now I do want to talk about some of the numbers breaking down the farming and the ranching for the caretaker. So like I said, we bought about 26 goats, and if you're a rancher, you might laugh at me, and that's okay. I'm just giving you my experience as I go through this. You can learn with me. So we originally got the cows, and my ranch hand said, hey, why don't we buy a couple baby cows, because they grow really fast, and within a few months they'll double, triple in weight, and we can sell them for double or triple our money. They sell by the pound. I said, well, that sounds like a pretty good idea. So we bought the cows and we're raising the baby cows, and hopefully we'll be able to double our money on those. All right, again, that's not to get rich off of that. It's not my new job, but if it can just offset some of the costs, I'm happy with that. But then they said, well, hey, goats are even better. If you really want, they said, goats are for dough, cows are for show. And so the goats, instead of 1 baby a year like a cow has, they have maybe 2 babies at a time, sometimes even 3, it's kind of rare, and they can do that multiple times a year. So now I could increase my flock, I could triple, quadruple my flock every single year. Sounds pretty good. You buy a goat about 75 bucks, they have a couple babies a year, you sell those off for 75 bucks, you do the math. It's a pretty good return on your money. That's where I think I'm at right now. Now, there's problems that we've already ran into. So some of the goats that we got were very young. 2 of them got sick and died, so I've lost money already. 2 of my goats died, unfortunately. But I'll keep you up to date. That's what I'm thinking on the numbers. I'll keep you up to date on the numbers. As we get a little bit further along, I'll actually break those numbers down and show you what I'm doing. But these are creative ways that I get my assets to create more assets, right? We take our wealth, we create the wealth, and then we make our wealth accumulate more wealth. So I borrowed against other assets and I put it down here. Now my dollar's doing multiple jobs. It's still in the other asset that I own, and it's here. That dollar's doing 2 jobs. Now I have this other assets that's also starting to make more money. There's costs involved, like having somebody run it for me, but I've come up with a creative way to offset and pay for that as well. The worst case scenario, I have to stuck making the payment on my own, and that's okay. I can handle that as well. So that's kind of the math on how this works. Hopefully this just gives you some ideas of how you could do the same thing. Maybe it encourages you, inspires you, motivates you, educates you. That's what I'm trying to do here. You should always be thinking about your own personal sovereignty. How can you control your life in a way that you see fit, not somebody else? What we're seeing in the United States, especially just at the time of this recording, this Supreme Court leak of the Roe versus Wade came out. A lot of people are freaking out. I'm not really going to weigh on that, but I am going to say that there's nothing to freak out about really, because overturning that doesn't change any laws. It doesn't change anything. All it does is put the power back to the individual state. And the reason why that's important is what we've seen over the last 2 years, was we're starting to see the federal laws starting to break down, and we're starting to see states' rights having more power. The reason why that's important to understand is because where I live in California is a crazy lunatic blue state, and they want to have more abortion laws, they want to have more gun laws, they want to have more illegal immigration, they want to have higher taxes, they want to have more mandates. But a state like Texas says, no, we don't want any of that. We don't want mandates. We want no state taxes. We want more personal freedom. And so we vote with our money. We need to go where we're treated best. And so as that continues to unfold, I need to make sure I have a plan to keep my personal sovereignty. If California infringes on my sovereignty too much, then I come to Texas. And also, since that happened, well, the United States is seemingly pretty hell-bent on going to war with Russia. They don't want to have diplomatic relations, it seems like, and there's a potential for nuclear war. And I haven't seen this in my lifetime. Obviously, I was alive during the Cold War, but it had been de-escalated to a point where, at least as far as I can remember, it wasn't really an issue. But today, we're in a situation where the U.S. is pressing Russia, and Vladimir Putin is saying, hey, if you guys don't stop, we may have to go nuclear. it's scary to hear them say that. The eternal optimist in me thinks that that could never happen, but it could. And so we want to plan for that. And so, you know, being in Southern California could be a high value target. Maybe being here might be better. Maybe I want to get out of the United States altogether. I got a house I'm building in Mexico. I'll do another video about that as well. So if I need to get out of the nuclear blast zone, we have that. But those are some of the things that have changed. Now, in the previous video that I did, a lot of people wanted to know, who was it that I met with that really laid out this plan that had me decide to go ahead and pull the trigger, buy this place? And it was one of my buddies, Tucker Max. And I sat down with him to go through an interview process and find out exactly what he's seen, the way he's thinking through it, and how things have changed in his own mind. Keep you up to date on what's going on. We'll come back and show you when the house is finished, when we start making money. I'll keep you up to date on the progress of the goats and the cows and what the money's like on that as well. And any other potential wins and even losses that we have, so you can learn from my mistakes. Hopefully that's good for you. I know you asked for more of these. Let me know if you want more in the comments down below. Of course, as always, give me a thumbs up on this video if you like it. If you don't like the video, that's okay. Give me a thumbs down, but at least tell me why so I can try to improve. And that's what I got for you today, all right? To your success. I'm out.